Well, howdy there, Internet people. It's Beau again. So today, we're going to talk about Hegseth's pep rally policies. Okay. Well, the much talked about meeting that was called by Hegseth to talk to the generals happened. It was about as well received as I expected. We've gotten literally hundreds of questions about this, and tomorrow on the second channel, The Roads with Beau, we'll go over as many as we can. But we won't get to all of them, because I just refuse to do a 2-hour special on this. Today, we're going to talk about the major policy shift that was indicated, and then one other bit that is definitely not going to be talked about the way it should. Hegseth announced that all of DoD would be adopting the Every Man a Rifleman policy. And it was cheered on, not by the generals and senior enlisted, but by people on social media who may not understand that 300 meters is standard, even for the Air Force. The philosophy of Every Man a Rifleman comes from the Marines. I think General Gray was the first to put it into words. But it was kind of always their thing, and it works for them. Inter-service rivalry aside, Marines are a different breed. I know people who view November 10th as the most sacred of all holidays. They have that philosophy ingrained. Every man a rifleman. If you're Motor T, you're a warrior first. It's a great philosophy for that branch. It isn't transferable. This policy shift, if actually enacted, will not produce a positive outcome. I know we have Marines, active or vet, in the comments. If you're a vet, real quick, tell us about Doc in the comments. If you weren't in the military, or you were but weren't exposed to Marines, you're about to find out something interesting. The people that most Marines call Doc is probably not a doctor and isn't a Marine. The Marines don't have medics. Doc is usually a Navy corpsman assigned to them. Why? Part is tradition, and because the Navy already had the infrastructure, and part is because the Marine Corps makes killers, not healers. But you need both on a battlefield. The military can be thought of as a spear. The people pulling a trigger are the tip. How does that tip get where it's going? Along support staff. The pilots or sailors getting them forward don't need to be riflemen. They need to be good at their jobs. How does this idea even work in the Navy? I don't care how fast a sailor on a boomer did their 1.5-mile run. They're on a sub. I want to know that the sailors who can destroy an entire nation in minutes are focused on their job and maintaining deterrence. What about the Air Force? Come on. This philosophy works in the Marines, and it works well. It makes no sense in other branches. This will fail, but we'll come back to that. A thing I believe is going to be overlooked is the idea of redefining bullying and hazing and so on. Removing anonymous reporting and an adjustment to the way adverse information follows someone. This will lead to a horrible outcome. It will create a situation where the military could run like some churches. Oh, you did what to that person that trusted you? You're being transferred quietly. This will go bad. When, not if it happens, remember that it was a choice they made. If this culture war nonsense is implemented as actual policy, the U.S. will reduce its military to the sort of hyper-performative macho force that Russia has. The kind that's been getting stomped for years by the they-them military of Ukraine. Look at the FPV footage and tell me if you think being able to do a few more pull-ups would have changed the outcome. This is a bad idea. Anyway, it's just a thought. Y'all have a good day.